Everybody, thank you guys for coming here to Lincoln Hill Farms. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. I am outdoors and more than 6 feet away, so I'll remove my mask. I'm being good. Do anyone in trouble? Yes, indeed. Look, the thing you might ask yourself is you've been seeing a whole lot of Larry Sharpe running around this state. That's true. This is my 56th stop of 62 to cross this entire state. Why in the world would I be doing that? I'm not even running for anything. Why would I be doing that? Because I have watched my own city of New York, my own state of New York, and my own nation lock itself down and destroy itself with a self-inflicted wound that is going to last for literally decades. I've watched most people do virtually nothing. I've watched left and right point the finger and blame each other and say, don't worry, support me because I'm not as bad as the other. That's what I've heard. And when I look at what's an actual answer, I don't get one. You might say, but Larry, I'm a Republican and Democrats are bad. Or Larry, I'm a Democrat, Republicans are bad. I hear that all the time. But I look at my own state. Republicans and Democrats happily gave my governor executive power to do whatever he wants to do. Yes, thank you for that boo. Yes, absolutely. I say I get boo. Now, you might be someone in New York State goes, but I like Governor Cuomo. Maybe you do. But what if a Republican was in charge? If you're a Democrat, would you want, say, Trump to have that kind of power? Of course you wouldn't. If you're a Republican, would you want Cuomo to have that kind of power? Of course not. But I would argue no one should want anyone to have that kind of power. Whether you are a Democrat or Republican, whether you like Trump or hate Trump, whether you like Cuomo or hate Cuomo, it shouldn't matter. Why would you want them to have that kind of power? And if you do, well, hey, I want them to have that kind of power. Here's a crazy idea. What if the person that you want to give you all your information would simply post that information someplace and you could voluntarily follow it? Wouldn't that be amazing? You could still follow every edict that Cuomo put out, but because you want to. And it wouldn't force anybody else to follow those edicts at all. The example I bring up, a friend of mine told me about a month ago, some data from Yates County. He told me that Yates County had about 6 deaths only. And those 6 deaths all came from one nursing home. Why in the world we want the same rules in Manhattan as we would have in Yates County? But that's what we have. We begged for that. We begged for that. We said, well, we can't do anything. We got to have federal guidelines or state guidelines. If you've been paying attention to anything in the media, we have been screaming about the value of diversity for I don't know how long. Diversity, 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 so important, so critical. You know what? I agree. Diversity is very important. So why in the world would I say that if we're so care about diversity so much, one size fits all for this entire state? That makes no sense. If we actually care about diversity, and I hope we do, then we acknowledge that people are different, communities are different, counties are different, states are different. So why would we want the same rules for every county in the state or for every community in this state? Why can't we just let each community be itself, each county be itself? Let's let Brooklyn be Brooklyn and Yates be Yates. Let's let Herkimer be Herkimer and Erie be Erie. How about that? That would be a whole lot better if we did that. And we could, but we're not. Instead, we're begging for our leaders to save us. And then both sides join in for the leader. You might say, no, Larry, that's not true. They've been yelling. The Republicans in this state have been fighting against Cuomo, right, for years. How many of them voted for him to keep power? 5 didn't. 5. In this entire state, 5 Republicans voted against Cuomo getting powers that would allow him to literally, and not figuratively, literally, ignore or destroy or completely get rid of any state or county law. But they're fighting Cuomo. No, this is not the right answer. The right answer is only one. It is to vote gold this year. It is to be bold and vote gold this year for actual change. You might say, but Larry, I'm a Democrat and I want the Democrats to win. Awesome. I'm glad if you do. Good for you. Well, I'm a Republican. I want Republicans to win. Good for you. I'm glad you do. But wouldn't you rather have better Republicans and better Democrats? Even if you don't want to become a libertarian, please become a libertarian. All of you, become libertarians. But even if you don't want to become one, I get it. Wouldn't you still want better Republicans? Republicans that have to actually be about smaller government and less taxes? Wouldn't that be a good thing? Well, they don't have to be now. No competition. Wouldn't you like to have Democrats who are actually about civil liberties? Well, they don't have to be now. They have no competition. This two-party system eventually becomes a cartel, which means individual monopolies. And here's what we see all the time. You see it in New York. I know people watching see it too. All of a sudden now somebody says, you know what? Just two of us. We're going to run our candidates in this area. You run yours in that area. And then we'll just be happy. We'll both control our own fiefdoms. And whichever person's on top, in this case it's Cuomo, the Democrats go, we're Democrats. We can just say Cuomo's great and they'll vote for us. Republicans will say, we're going to yell at you, but we still want to stay in power. And all Cuomo says, will you enforce the king's will? And they go, yes, we will. You have pleased the crown. You may now stay in power. That is how we're working right now. This two-party system has become a feudal system of kings and barons and princes who, as long as they enforce the king's will, they stay in power. And we are stuck. How do you fix that? Vote gold. And I'm so lucky that today I have somebody here who's running for office as a libertarian in Western New York, in New York Congressional District 27, to try to break that duopoly, to try to make things better here in New York and across the country. I'm so happy to have him with me, Duane Whitmer.
Thank you, Larry. Everyone, thank you for coming. Real fast, Larry said a lot, so I'll start with the two-party system. The two-party system has failed us. Never-ending war, never-ending debt, never-ending spending, raising your taxes and your wages have stayed stagnant for 40 years. They say when they're in power, things will be different, and they keep the status quo. 40 years of nothing changing except for their pensions getting bigger, their net worth getting bigger, their wages going up, and you're staying stagnant. Then coronavirus hits, and Congress is lobbied by Big Pharma to pass regulations through FDA to keep the market controlled. And so a test kit pended FDA approval for 60 days in February and March. I couldn't go on the free market of Amazon, the greatest distribution network in the world, and buy a test kit, see if I'm positive and stay home, see if I'm negative and live my life. We had to rely on the government to lock everything down. And what happened was they locked down, including current NY27 congressman who was a state senator, Chris Jacobs, the Republican candidate. He voted to give Cuomo executive power. Yes, Chris, that was a pretty big mess up on your part. You voted to give Andrew Cuomo executive power. And NY27, well, they were locked down and unemployed. They promoted you, which is pretty embarrassing. And we can do better in November because I'm here.
Yes,
and then,
yes.
So actually, real fast, Chris, we're on a farm. If you want to stop by, there's a dog here. There's a scarecrow over there. We could probably make a Tin Man out of recycled beer cans. And there's someone named Dorothy somewhere. We could get you to Oz to find the courage to finally stand up. He's afraid to debate me. Channel 4 had a debate, and Chris Jacobs refused to show up if I was there. We're currently trying to plan debates, and he's ducking them. He doesn't want to show up. He doesn't want to show up to an interview to talk to the voters. He doesn't want to be accountable for his actions. He doesn't feel that you guys are worth his time. So why do we put people like him in office? If, as a business owner myself, if a potential employee blew off an interview, I wouldn't hire them. I wouldn't give them a job. If they came to that interview and just talked about how everyone else was bad and they had no solutions, I wouldn't hire them. I'd want to hear what their qualifications are, which is what the current system is. Red team bad, blue team bad, orange man bad, Biden bad. No solutions, nothing changes. So I decided to run. Here I am running. And I'm actually, speaking about the lockdown, currently on a federal lawsuit against Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
So you have Chris Jacobs, who loves Andrew Cuomo enough to give him executive power to control every aspect of your life while he gets a taxpayer-funded paycheck that you guys pay while your business is shut down, your employer is shut down, your favorite restaurant shut down, your mental health is devastated. Your churches are shut down, your gun stores are shut down. And you can go to Walmart though and wait in line with 100 other people, but that's about it. You can't go to a small mom and pop shop to keep them afloat. And restaurants and small businesses are closing at record numbers. I'm suing Andrew Cuomo. Me and a bunch of libertarians are in a federal lawsuit against Andrew Cuomo to essentially remove executive power because, like Larry said, that's not what our government's for. But we're not a monarchy. We're not one person rule. We have elected officials for a reason. So when you send Chris to DC, currently right now, there are more Democrats in the House than Republicans. So is Chris going to fight for NY27 or is he going to lay down? Unless we take him to odds, which we're working on. Chris, hurry up, get out here. We'll take you to odds and get you the courage. He's not going to fight for you guys. The Libertarian Party has to fight for every single vote. Every single vote I get, I earn. I have to talk to people. I have to explain them what we're about, who we are, why they should vote for us. I have to break away from the vote blue no matter who, vote red no matter who tribe. I have to tell them there's better options out there. I have to fight through the manipulation of the misconception of what a libertarian is. I have to fight through the wasted vote misconception. Every single one of our candidates face hurdles. More than the red and blue teams, we have less voter enrollment, less media coverage, less donations, less funds, less name recognition, and we're still fighting. And that's who you need to put in office. You need to put fighters in office.
We are better looking.
I can't. Larry says Larry's better looking. Chris and Nate have better hair than I do. I'm 32 and going bald because I work in the real world. I don't have a government-funded paycheck, so I actually have to earn my wages, and I get stressed out pretty bad. So my hair is not as great as theirs. It's the cushy government job that does it. But no, they're no different. We fight for every single vote. And isn't that who you want representing you? You want fighters. You want people that are going to work their butt off to break these misconceptions, earn your vote, keep your vote, earn your trust, and do the work.
Yes.
Every single day, we have to go over more hurdles than any other candidate. And that's who I want to put in office. I want to put people that fight for every single vote.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to turn it back over to Larry. November 3rd, vote gold, and send a message to the two-party system that they need to earn your vote and start listening to voters. Thank you guys so much. And back to Larry.
Oh, yes. I'm so happy that we have people like Duane, who's talking about actually trying to make real change, make impact, right? He's talking about making impact. And I would ask you, for those of you out there who came, thank you for those who came. For those of you who are watching, imagine this. Do you know who's going to win the presidential election in New York State? Not in the country, in New York State. I do. It's going to be Biden. Why? We are a blue state. So Biden's going to win in New York. Does that mean Biden will win the election? I don't know. Trump might win, Biden might win. But if Trump wins the election, he will win it like he won it last time, without New York. If Biden wins the election, he'll win it with New York. We are almost 3-1 Democrat to Republican in New York State. So we know who's going to win this state. That's a done deal. So why would you vote for Biden or Trump in this state? Why would you do that? Well, I got to support Biden, or I got to support Trump, or I hate Trump, or I hate socialism, or whatever is your logic. I get that. I get that. But it will have no impact. It will have no impact. It is symbolic only. And it is poorly symbolic because what it actually does is it tells the two parties that they own your vote. That's what it actually says. It says they own your vote. It doesn't matter what they do. I want to ask you, how many times did Biden and Trump come to New York and come to your town? 0. Why would they? They know the outcome. They know the outcome. They're not coming here. They don't care about this state. Why? We're giving them our vote. So why bother showing up? I'm sorry, they will come to New York City to raise money. I stand corrected. They'll show up to New York City to have some big donors give them cash, then they'll leave. They're not coming up here ever. Why would they? There's no need. I'm asking you to actually make your vote count in this state. Vote gold at the top of the ticket. Vote gold, vote Joe Jorgensen for president at the top of the ticket. Do that, and you make impact in 2 ways. Number 1, Imagine for a second, just imagine if New York State had 300,000 votes for the Libertarian Party in this state. Imagine that for a moment. Thank you. It'd be amazing, right? What would actually happen? Well, Biden would still win. That's not, he's going to win by 2 million votes. Not going to change that. He still wins. But all of a sudden, now Democrats go, whoa, we might actually have to start. We can't just run roughshod over this state anymore. There's someone else coming up. We better actually do something. We might have to show up in areas that we don't show up in anymore. Don't change the rules also, yes. But let's forget that. Stop messing with me in the facts. Stop that. I'm going someplace here. So yes. So we actually want to make sure they care about us. Republicans might say, well, wait a minute. If they can get 300,000 votes, some of those could be our votes. Maybe we shouldn't just give up and roll over to His Majesty. And maybe we should act and stop giving him power and supporting the SAFE Act, supporting red flag laws. Maybe we should stop that too. But more importantly of all that, in this state, because of His Majesty, King Andrew II, all hail the King, because of him, we now have to get 130,000 votes just to remain on the ballot so that people will have a choice other than the top two parties. We got 300,000 votes. We send a message. We make impact. We get better Republicans and better Democrats. And on top of it, you keep the Libertarian Party on the ballot in this state. So we can keep doing it again and again and again and again. And we can keep them honest again and again and again and again. We have to vote gold this year for the future. We have to be bold and vote gold this year for the future. We have to give Duane what he needs. Here's the thing you guys don't understand. This state's so bad. We're going to lose 2 congressional districts after this census is complete because we've lost over 1.5 million people. So we're going to have to redistrict again. So New York 27 is not going to exist in 2 years because we won't have 27 districts. We'll have 25. We're going to reboot again. Who's going to still be here? This man right here, Duane Whitmer. He's going to still be here in your area, in whatever district they make, fighting for you. Support him now. Let him have impact in New York 27 now. And then 2 years from now, whatever this will be, New York 25 or 23 or whatever they make it, you'll have the same fighter here for you, holding everyone accountable, making impact in a place that he cares about, not just showing up every once in a while to collect some money and run away. It is a different way of looking at things. We can make impact. This year, vote Duane Whitmer. This year, vote Joe Jorgensen. This year, look on your ballot. If you see a libertarian, vote for that libertarian. A lot of places there aren't libertarians in every place. And if you're a Republican or Democrat, please vote red or vote blue in those areas you think you have good people, good for you. But when you have a libertarian on your line, why wouldn't you do that? If you are unhappy with how America is now, if you're unhappy with how our state is right now, and you keep voting all red or all blue, it's your fault. It's your fault if you keep voting all red or all blue. We've been doing it for decades. It's not working. Look for something else. It can happen. Please vote gold, be bold. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Duane. Thank you all for watching.